Tonight we begin a new series called Good Enough. That is to say, how did we get into our psyche the feeling that I am not good enough? Some people say, I am not enough. The question is, when did that begin? When did that seep into your psyche? Try to think back when and how old you were when you first began to feel not good enough. There are various reasons why in our upbringing we may develop the subconscious feeling of not good enough. Here are some of the reasons. Number one, sibling rivalry. Perhaps an older sibling or a younger sibling is better than me, and I feel not good enough. Or that sibling was praised more than me, and I feel not good enough. Critical parents. If parents are overly critical or judgmental or very heavy-handed in their discipline, I may feel burdened or judged or not measuring up to their expectations. And therefore, I may feel carrying forward into my teenage years and my adult years, and in my 20s and 30s, feel not good enough. Another reason, I'm lonely. Perhaps I'm an only child. An only child is a lonely child. Or I'm not so popular at school and therefore don't have many relationships, never feel lonely, abandoned. Or if there's 3 kids hanging out together and I'm on the side, or there's 2 kids always hanging out together and I'm left out, I may feel not good enough to join that group. Abuse. If I'm abused emotionally or physically, or unfortunately, sexually, this causes a person to feel so bad, so terrible about themselves that they feel broken, damaged goods, not good enough. A learning disability. I know that many children in my practice, when they have to be taken out of class and go to the resource room, they know all eyes are on them. And therefore, we have to come up with creative ways of how the child can go to the resource room without being singled out and said, you come with me because you are not good enough in math, or not good enough in reading, or not good enough in writing. You have to come to the resource room. But that child should go to the resource room from the beginning of class without having to walk out of class. But there are many reasons why a child with learning disability might feel, I am not good enough, not compared to the other children. Being bullied in school or in carpool. Many clients of mine remember incidents of being bullied. And therefore, these could be reasons why we feel and we carry within ourselves a psyche of not good enough. The common denominator of being good enough is comparing myself to other people. When we are 3 years old, we think that a nickel, a 5-cent piece, is better than a dime because it's bigger. We don't have the concept, an abstract concept of value. When we're 10 years old, we know that a dime, which is smaller than a nickel, is better than a nickel because it can buy more. So we develop over time an awareness of comparisons. I am comparing the nickel to the dime or the dime to the nickel. When I'm 3 and 4, I don't understand that comparison. When I'm 7, 8, 9, and 10, I do. And so around 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, we begin to develop a sense of they're better than me in sports, they're better than me in dance, they're better than me in ballet, they're better than me in art or mathematics or school, they're more popular than me. And I can develop a comparative feeling of comparing myself to others where I don't fit in. I don't feel like I belong to this group. I'm not good enough for this group. I'm not popular. And we can carry this feeling with us throughout our teenage years and into our adulthood of feeling not good enough, which can affect our marriage as well. And I've written a book on this topic called Like Yourself and Stay Married, because I believe that the underlying cause of many, many marriage problems is one of the parties has low self-esteem and does not feel good enough and takes everything as a critical comment and therefore reacts negatively. And therefore, this is a very important point of how to get over, to work on ourselves and become a person who is good enough and see ourselves as good enough. And therefore, the problems with not feeling good enough are, I don't look good enough. I need to have a surgery to make myself look better. or I'm not making enough money. I have to quit this job, which I'm good at, and then I get into trouble. Or I want to change marriages because this is not good enough for me, or I'm not good enough for this marriage. There are many, many ramifications of not feeling good enough. What is this feeling of good enough? And through this series of workshops, I'm going to take you through quite a few series of exercises of how to transform our belief in ourselves of not good enough to, yes, I am enough. And the goal is that I want to achieve life and live life without the pressure to disprove other people's judgment of me. I want to live in concert with the world, in tandem with the world, at peace with the world, without feeling I have to fight the world to become recognized, where I feel invisible or undervalued or not good enough. And so our goal through this series is going to be to develop a sense of self-esteem. Now, one of the great problems of low self-esteem is it's such a painful feeling that some people feel they have to numb that feeling. And a lot of people go to drugs or gambling or alcohol to numb that feeling. And according to my teacher and Rebbe, Dr. Abraham Tursky, who founded the Gateways Rehabilitation Clinic in Alakipa near Pittsburgh, who died last year at the age of 90, he said that every single addict has low self-esteem. Not every single person who has low self-esteem turns into an addict, but every addict has at his root a feeling of being not good enough. And therefore, one of the main planks of his rehabilitation therapy in the Gateways Rehab Clinic in Pittsburgh was to work on a person's self-esteem. And that, as he is my mentor, I'm going to work on that with you through this series of how to become a person who believes in themselves. Believe in you by being you. Be you. Believe in yourself. And that's the purpose of this new series. Hope you can join us as we go through this series, that you can develop a sense of inner transformation, that you are good enough.